Hello, this is Corey from First Aid Training Co-operative, and today we've got a video which is going to demonstrate how we deal with a casualty in a more remote environment while we're going to wait for help to arrive. We've assumed we've carried out a full primary survey and secondary survey. The environment is cold, wet and windy, so we need to protect the casualty from the environment. We're going to be here for quite a while, so this video will demonstrate how we keep the casualty warm and what we do while we're waiting for help to arrive. I've got a casualty lying on the floor, so Tom has kindly volunteered to be our casualty today, and we're going to demonstrate how we'd insulate and shelter this casualty. So primary survey ABC and secondary survey D damage are complete. So how would we insulate this casualty? Well, if I just kneel down next to my casualty, I need to put something underneath the casualty as well as on top of them to keep them warm. Outdoors, I may well use an empty rucksack. Here, luckily today, we just happen to have a mat which we can roll the casualty onto. In the real world, like I say, this could be an empty rucksack or even some dead vegetation, some handfuls of dead bracken. We can roll the casualty onto a small mattress to keep their body off the ground. So with this mat, all I'm going to do is slide this up to the casualty's shoulder, making sure there's enough mat to cover their head, and slide it up to their hips. It's the main part of the torso which is the important bit to try and keep warm. And now, as I roll the casualty into the recovery position, we'll roll them onto this insulating mat. So we'd slide the hand nearest to us out of the way. We'd lift up the far leg at the knee, and we'd roll the casualty towards us, taking their thumb. I can use my fingers to support the casualty's head as I roll them over towards me. All the usual things we would do. So we'd protect the head and neck. We'd make sure we gently pop that down. Make sure we just adjust the arm positions, give them a good open airway, make sure they're breathing. So all of that is assumed, but now we've rolled them onto this lovely insulating mat. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy, the environment is poor. So what are we going to do? Luckily today we have a foil blanket. So these are the sort of blankets that we can get off the internet, and we can cover the blanket with this. It's got a shiny side and a dull side. So what I really need to do is get the shiny side next to my casualty, and I would tuck this in thoroughly. So I'd definitely be tucking it underneath the casualty's knees and legs and feet so it doesn't blow away. I'd come around the far side, I would tuck it right underneath the casualty, making sure it's not going to blow away. I could use rocks and logs just to make sure it doesn't roll away. I've covered the casualty's head, but there's enough air getting in there for them still to be able to breathe. We're not cutting off any air, so they can definitely breathe underneath there. And I tuck this underneath their arms and their hands, and I'll be talking to them all the time as I was doing that, reassuring them. We've maybe made our emergency phone call, and we know it's going to be 2 hours before help arrives. So what are we going to do for the next couple of hours waiting for help? Well, I need to look after myself, so maybe I need to have something to eat and drink, I need to keep warm. But with the casualty, we're going to continue to talk to them, but we're also going to monitor their life signs. So we're going to start monitoring those. So what life signs would I monitor? Well, I'm going to take pulses, temperatures, breathing rates, levels of response, and checking the casualty's colour. It's a lot of information to collect, so I guess I need to write it down. So always when I'm out and about, my outdoor first aid kit has some waterproof paper and a pencil where I can write things down on. So I'm going to do that. In order to demonstrate taking a set of vital signs, life signs, I do need to uncover the casualty today. So just for a demonstration, we're going to uncover the casualty and talk about how we collect some life signs. So in terms of taking a pulse, I'll try and take the casualty's wrist pulse, carotid pulse, and maybe have time for 15 seconds, work out their pulse rate, and I would write that down. So if their pulse rate was 20 beats in 15 seconds, that's 80 beats per minute. So on my sheet, I would write down 80 beats per minute. And I'd repeat that every 15 minutes and try and use the same position on the casualty's body to record the pulse. If I can't find the wrist pulse, then I'll try and find the neck pulse. In terms of monitoring the casualty's temperature, well, I haven't got a thermometer with me, so all I have are my hands. So all I want to do is inside the casualty's clothing, so I want to put my hands under their clothing, and I just want to check whether they are warm, whether they're cold, or maybe they're hot. maybe their skin is dry, or maybe it's wet. And again, I'm just going to record that information. In terms of checking the casualty's breathing rate, well, I can come close down to the casualty, put my hand against their mouth, but often more effective than that is just to use my hand and place it next to the casualty's tummy, and I'm feeling for the movement of the tummy, so I know when they've taken one breath, a second breath, and I can record over time how many breaths they take in, say, 15 seconds, multiply that up for a minute and write that down on my pad. So if they took 3 breaths in 15 seconds, that would be 3 times 4, be 12 breaths per minute, and I would write that down. In terms of checking for alertness, we're using our AVPU scale: alert, vocal response, response to pain, pressure, or unresponsive. Well, I can maybe squeeze the casualty's shoulder, pinch their ear, shout in their ears and see if we get any sort of response. At the moment, this casualty is unresponsive, so that's what I'd write down on my chart. In terms of their colour, we're really talking about colour of the bloodstream, so I could look at that underneath their eyes. So I'd come in, check under their eyes, and that's a good pink colour, and I would write down the colour on my pad, and I'd repeat that process every 15 minutes. So I collect this vital sign, life sign information every 15 minutes. That information is really useful when the emergency services arrive, the rescue team arrives, because we can give that information to the rescue team and they can take it with the casualty to hospital, and it gives the emergency services an idea about what's been happening to that casualty over the time we've been waiting for them to arrive.